You could not find a happier person on earth than me. I have met the man of my life. His name is Magnus, and he comes from this amazing family of accomplished scholars. I am a physical therapist who met him accidentally when there was a last minute scheduling change, and he became my patient. We are due to be married in a couple of weeks, even though we only met about 2 months ago. All was going great for me until I lost his grandmother's heirloom emerald engagement ring. You don't understand. This ring is worth a fortune, and I lost it. See, there was this hotel fire, and everyone had to evacuate, and suddenly it was gone, along with my phone and all of my contacts' information. I had to find a new phone instantaneously, or the hotel concierge would have had nowhere to reach me when he found my ring. Lucky for me, I found one in the trash can, and it worked. So I sort of kept it. Except now, the owner of the phone, keeps calling me. I'll admit, I'm a little bit nosy. And so now, well, I'm sort of his personal assistant. So I'm juggling a wedding, in-laws who hate me, my job, and this new personal assistant role. What could possibly go wrong? Why don't you read my story and find out? It's I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella. Most of us know Shakespeare's play, Romeo and Juliet, the star-crossed lovers whose love wasn't enough to save them from their family's feud with each other's household. But have you ever wondered what drove their families to loathe one another? Robin Maxwell's historical romance novel, Oh Juliet, helps clear things up. This book bases the story in history and weaves in real-life figures such as the de Medicis and Strozzi families, which are credited for starting the Renaissance period in Italy. Juliet is an 18-year-old who is about to be betrothed to an old, boring associate of her father's. One night at a ball, she meets young, handsome Romeo. Romeo is a 25-year-old university student who has returned to live with his family. They soon learn that they share a passionate love, not just for poetry, but for each other. They also learn that their families have long been at war with each other, and thus their love cannot be. Will their lives end in the manner that we all know? Will there be a happier ending to this tale? Find out when you read Oh Juliet by Robin Maxwell. Do you love where you live? What would you do in order to protect it from danger? Nayeli is willing to go illegally into another country to get help. Nayeli's town in Mexico is deserted. It's a tiny town filled with only women and children. The men, including her father, emigrated south years ago, and now criminals want to take over the town. They figure that there's no one there to defend their town or intervene in their plans to take over. But they don't know Nayeli. Nayeli is fresh out of high school and loves her sleepy town. When she understands what the criminals want to do, she springs into action. Nayeli is inspired by a Hollywood movie and decides she needs to come gather her own Magnificent Seven team to come help the town get rid of the criminals. Along with her two high school friends, Yolo, a fashion-loving book nerd, Veronica, the only punk goth, and Tacho, the only gay man in town, Nayeli will embark on a heartfelt, hilarious, eye-opening journey across 2 countries. Along the way, she'll meet a ninja, missionaries, an amazing bowler, and many more quirky characters. If you want to join Nayeli in her destiny-changing journey, read Luis Alberto Urrea's Into the Beautiful North. Later, when memory was all she had to sustain her, she would come to cherish it, old Honolulu as it was, as it would never be again. Rachel Kalama is a happy 7-year-old who loves her family and her island of Hawaii. It's 1891, and she lives in Honolulu with her mother, father, two active, rambunctious brothers, and her older sister. They are a tight-knit family who enjoy spending time with their aunts and uncles. One day, her favorite uncle, Pono, gets arrested for having leprosy. He gets sent to a local camp to be treated, but is soon vanished to the island of Molokai. Molokai is an island designated as a leper's colony by the government. Lepers are sent for treatment there and are kept in isolation from everyone else. Rachel is devastated to be separated from Pono, whom she loves dearly, but unbeknownst to her, she'll soon be joining him. 7-year-old Rachel is torn from her family by the government against their will and is sent to live in the camp in Molokai. At first, she's afraid of the disfigured people who come greet her with smiles, but soon learns that Ohana, family, can take many different forms. Rachel will grow up and face human tragedy laced with joy and achievements. If you want to find out if Rachel will ever see her family again or leave Molokai, read Alan Brennard's Molokai. The Hummingbird's Daughter by Luis Alberto Urrea is a historical fiction novel based on his real-life great-aunt. It is 1873 in the desert of Sonora, Mexico. Teresita is an illegitimate native child born to a ranch owner and his ranch hand, the hummingbird. Even as an infant, Teresita was special. The infant had a red triangle on her forehead. Red triangles, Willa knew, were reserved for the powerful ones. As a child, she is ignored by her wealthy father and her quiet mother and is instead left to be brought up by her mean aunt who is often jealous of her. Instead of the aunt taking care of her, it is mainly Willa, the healer, whom Teresita is cared for and taught by. When Teresita is 16, she falls ill and soon begins having visions. These visions lead her to believe that she's a healer, and she begins practicing as one. Soon, Teresita has a following of over 1,200 camped out on the ranch lands waiting for her healing. She is strong-willed, humble, and curious about life. She is so successful at being a healer that the natives begin to call her the Saint of Cabora. This leads to conflicts with the church and the government, who doesn't like her power over the common people. You see, it's inconvenient in their plot to take away the land from the natives. Teresita will serve as an inspiration for the Mexican Revolution and indigenous uprisings. She will become the most feared woman by the government and the most revered by the people. This novel is full of magical realism, lovely imagery, history, comedy, heartbreak, and charm. A novel 20 years in the making. How long will it take you to enjoy it?